If you are a fan of any musician in today's day and age, I can almost guarantee that you have felt the pain of them letting you down. From Kanye West getting our hopes up, announcing album release dates that he doesn't even try to hold up to someone like Frank Ocean making fans spend thousands of dollars to see him live at Coachella just to cancel last minute. There have been countless times when artists haven't just let fans down, but have completely betrayed us, lying to our faces. So with all of the deception and lying between artists and fans, the question is, time and time again, why do the biggest musicians, especially in the hip-hop realm, love to deceive fans, and how do they actually benefit by teasing music that will never drop and experiences that are never gonna happen? To answer this question, the first thing that needs to be understood about how artists constantly get away with pulling off stunts like this is the actual conventions of the music industry. When we look at the music business compared to other sectors of the entertainment world like film and television, making an album is a much more linear process that involves a lot less planning and collaboration compared to other mediums, so as a result, musicians have a lot less barriers to work through. As opposed to other mediums where you may need directors, writers, and stars all working in unison, musicians get to be the director, writer, and star of the creations they put out, and this leaves them with a lot of power. To break this down with some numbers, the average amount of people it took to make the 200 highest grossing films from 1997 to 2016 was 588, while it took about 40 people on average to make an album, so you can see that there is a pretty big difference. Beyond just this factor, the do-it-yourself approach many rappers have brought to the table in recent years has added another degree of freedom for artists. So as opposed to a blockbuster film or major network TV series, music is not conceived with as many confines as other industries' production schedules, and the good thing about this is that big-name artists end up harnessing most of the control over their projects, but the bad thing is, we gotta deal with stuff like this.
You said the album was coming out on Saturday. It didn't come out. What happened?
I didn't finish it.
Now, understanding the fact that stars in the music world hold the majority of the control when it comes to what they put out in today's industry is one thing, but this doesn't mean artists like Drake and Kanye West are failing to meet release dates because of laziness, and as a matter of fact, it's quite the opposite. Most of the time, when an artist promises they are releasing something and doesn't end up holding up to their word, it's not because they are lazy or selfish, but it's actually because of perfectionism. Most musicians working at the highest level possible have got to the place they are at today as a result of the high standards they hold their art to, and for many of the biggest acts in the world, despite how far they have made it, this has not suppressed their hunger and desire to express themselves and their visions to the fullest potential possible. These artists are striving for perfection with every album they put out, and the price of making something great can end up costing a lot of broken promises. Now, this drive to make the most cutting-edge art is what gives us music that touches our souls and deeply impacts our lives, but it's this same type of artistry that doesn't just delay albums over and over again, but often makes the creator of them go mad. With artists being so judgmental over their own work and having the desire to create each one of their visions to the best of their human capabilities, it can end up taking a record years and for some artists even decades to complete. Perfectionism has driven an MC like Andre 3000 to actually lose confidence when it comes to their own music, and this is one of the many reasons why to this day we have not seen any new solo music from him since the early 2000s. Examples of this in the modern era can be seen with Lil Uzi Vert's Eternal Take and Playboi Carti's Whole Lotta Red, which were both anticipated for multiple years, and from the original leaks we heard from these respective records to the final versions we ended up getting years later, these albums had entirely different identities by the end of their production cycles. So when you see how an artist like Playboi Carti evolved his vision for Whole Lotta Red from an extension of what he did on his album before that, Die Lit, to something so boundary pushing and polarizing, you can see why he kept pushing the album's release date out further and further. It's this control over their work that allows for artists to really elevate the way they are creating, despite how chaotic it ends up being for us fans on the outside. Now, while artists are always striving for perfection, this is still far from the only factor driving the deception between musicians and their fans. While most stars have the control to complete albums at their own pace, even if that means pushing back date after date that you already promised to fans, the industry still allows this freedom because it ends up benefiting them in the long run. Due to the chaos and confusion of these artists tormenting fans and lying to their face about releases and events, it ends up actually building more hype than any traditional marketing campaign could ever. If you need living proof of this, when Kanye West failed to release Donda multiple times when he said it was going to drop, while fans were livid at Ye, the angry posts, memes, and all the other buzz surrounding the album failing to come out when expected ended up building even more hype than imaginable actually. The public outrage, the fan outcry surged up the demand to listen to what Kanye had in store as everybody was talking about it, and once the album actually came out, it was a cultural landmark for everyone whether you loved or hated Kanye West. The same sentiment can be applied to artists like Playboi Carti and Lil Uzi Vert, who through their mysterious appearances and borderline misleading comments about every plan they have for the future of their music, it ends up only driving the buzz for these albums more and more. In addition, this lack of transparency has also created an ethos around artists like these where fans are more interested in all aspects of their persona in addition to the artistry, and this ends up brewing cultures that buy more tickets and more merchandise in the long run. So overall, in an industry like music where the consumption is conducted in a digital space, there's no problem if Drake pushes his album back a few weeks or if Kanye decides to drop music on a random Sunday morning, because once these albums hit streaming platforms, word is going to explode instantly, creating a ripple effect. It's not like the film industry where it takes months in advance to plan out press tours and screening times, and it's this mobility in the modern music industry that has allowed for this to occur. Because of these conventions, most artists don't even finish their albums till right before they release, and this is why on many of the biggest records in modern music, you can spot changes happening to them right before your eyes. The first wave of Utopia vinyls from Travis Scott had the song A with Lil Uzi Vert instead of Meltdown with Drake, and even an album like Kendrick Lamar's Mr. Morale and the Big Steppers had some lyric changes happen before people even got through their first listen. So overall, the reason artists lie to us and put us through so much pain when we refresh Spotify to see if they dropped and you know they didn't, it's because they have more control over their visions than ever. While it does feel bitter when we are let down again and again by our favorite names in music, they are doing this, they are creating this madness so they can give us a body of work that can truly change our lives. Now with this said, this does not excuse people like Frank Ocean when they mislead fans into buying tickets for concerts like Coachella and pulling out last minute. That is purely evil to waste your fans' hard-earned money and time like that through your lack of transparency. Overall, there you have it. Does understanding where artists pushing back anticipated releases come from make you understand and even appreciate the maddening torture they put us through, or do you wish there was more transparency and reliability in the music industry as a whole? Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. I can't wait to hear what you have to say, and if you enjoyed this video, be sure to smash that subscribe button. It helps me out a ton, and it is free to do. Mr. F, Fantastic Hip Hop, signing out. Catch you in the next video.